going on, guys? Xtremis Models here, back at you with another video. In today's episode, we are going to be going over my completed 1928 Ford Attraxxion rat rod. Now, I know that I'm a little late to making this video because the car's been done since like middle October. Finished it up for Acme, and I haven't done a video on it yet, but we've been super busy here. Got a lot of builds going on right now. Got some for next year's Acme show already in progress and going. I figured now would be a good time to do a video. So this one is about a 2-year long project, and I know that that's a long time to spend on any model, but when you've got a bunch of them going at once, it's kind of hard to prioritize which ones need to be done first until it comes time for a show and you figure out which ones you want to take with you. And this was one of the main ones. This is basically a continuation of, we'll call it my rat rod series. So this one is kind of up there with the Nighthawk, and this one is one of, if not the wildest vehicle that I've built so far, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And yeah, for those of you who didn't get to see this thing at Acme this year and are wondering where the video was, let's get to it. Alright guys, here it is. This is Attraxxion, my 1928 Ford Chop Top Coupe. This was about a 2-year long build, and I just managed to finish this one up in time for Acme this year, back in October. I think I got this car done about 2 weeks before the show, and I'm really impressed with how this one turned out. The idea for this came about one night. I was sitting here at the bench, and I started going through some of my Jimmy Flintstone cabs and bodies, and I picked this body up on Jimmy Flintstone Studios for about, I think it was like $10 or something like that. And this is the NB177 1928. Here I am losing my words again. It's the NB177 1928 Ford Chop Top, and I bought this along with several other cabs and bodies and stuff like that are in the stash. But I remember getting it out one night and laying it on the bench with these tracks that I got from King Toys at Shapeways, and thinking, wow, that thing would look really cool on tracks. And on the other end of the bench was this Cummins X15 diesel that I got from, I think it may have been ST Supply. I can't quite remember. It's been so long ago. It's kind of what happens when it takes you 2 years to build something. You tend to forget where you got everything for it. But I pulled this engine out of this bag and kind of just crammed it all together in a nice mock-up on the bench, and I got to thinking one night, I was like, wow, you know, that would be really cool. But at the time, I was telling myself, I was like, my skill set would not allow me to build this just yet, because I didn't think that I was prepared to take on a project like that. So I sat there and daydreamed for a long time before I ever even started. And one of the things that I noticed right off the bat after I linked this engine and this trans together was that this engine and trans is way too big for the body of the car. So I knew that I was going to have to come up with some crazy chassis to get all of this stuff to work together correctly. So I scratch built a chassis that I've dubbed the Hourglass, and I know it's not as pretty on the bottom as it is the top, and that's fine. But as you can see, the forward frame rails are plenty wide enough to fit the 14.9 liter Cummins X15, and then right behind the transmission the frame rail's narrow, and that's where the flat floor pan is installed, and the body just slides down right around that flat floor pan, and there you have it. You've got a giant, nearly 15-liter diesel sitting in front of a tiny 1928 Ford, and the rest of the chassis is also scratch built. But some of the modifications that I went ahead and made to the body was I went in and opened the roof up so that you guys could see the interior, because obviously with a chop top car the interiors are a little harder to see. So I went ahead and opened it up, and that exposed the entire interior. And as you can see, we'll adjust our lighting here a little bit better. As you guys can see, the flat floor pan in there, which was done on purpose so that I could add what I've called the rib cage, which is basically a false trans tunnel. I knew that if I added an actual trans tunnel to this car, that the seats were not going to fit. So I went in and bent some styrene rod around I think I bent it around a X-Acto blade or X-Acto knife. You know, the thing you put your X-Acto knife in. Anyways, I bent it around that and got them all to the same measurement. I wish this camera would focus a little better. There it goes. And just installed them on the floor pan, and somehow the seats managed to just barely sandwich their way between the door panels and the rib cage. And I went ahead and drilled the rear of the body out so that the drive shaft just punches straight through the back and into the front of the 2.5 ton Rockwell axle from Shapeways. And as you can see, the axle is dropped, and the way that I managed to do this was I found some old transfer cases on eBay and bought them, and went in and used them basically as drop boxes on either end of the axle, and that allowed me to drop the axle down low enough so that the body would work with the drive shaft. So and then adding to some more of the detail of the body, these are some Halloween decor skeletons that I got from old Papa Z last year at Acme, and I butchered 3 of them up and made some nice skull details to go on the car. But I think that's it for the body. I got the visor out of I think it was a 34 Ford pickup from AMT, another parts kit. And then I had to scratch build the window frame, and then just for the window I just used a piece of clear styrene, trimmed it to the you know, the correct size, and then sandwiched it in there between the body and the window. And that's pretty much it for the body. The engine, again, we'll get back to that. Like I said before, I'm not necessarily sure where I got it. I want to say it was ST Supply at the time. I could be wrong. If you guys in the comments recognize this particular resin engine and you know for a fact where it came from, please feel free to let me know. But I don't remember where I got it. But I've done some modifications to this one. I've added my own injectors, my own fuel rail, completely plumbed and wired this engine throughout. Well, enough for me. And one of the changes that I made was the addition of a compound turbo system The turbos are from Joel over at Iceman Collections, and these are his large turbos. And I've got them oriented in a compound boost setup where your primary feeds the secondary turbo, and then the charge pipe from the secondary is what feeds into the intercooler. The intercooler and radiator on this are completely scratch built and are custom tailored to fit this particular build, and everything worked out just fine. All of my charge piping and radiator hose is all scratch built, either out of I think the radiator hoses is just made out of some, I want to say it's Gopher Racing 2-inch radiator hose. It's actually just a wire that's been bent to shape, but the entire piping system for the turbo kit, from the charge pipes to the compressor pipes, are all made out of soldering wire. So back to the suspension. The front and rear suspension both are a 4-link airbag setup. Even the front is a 4-link airbag, and it's all on a scratch-built front end with knuckles from a, I want to say it was the C600 Ford stake truck is where I got these knuckles from. And then the brakes are a 2-piece rotor and caliper. They're separate, actually. The rotors and calipers are separate from one another, and it's a 2-piece setup that I got from, again, I believe that was Joel at Iceman. And then I just went in and plumbed my brake lines through the front end and through the chassis, and hooked everything up to the master cylinder, and made my steering arm, and have it linked up to the body. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the suspension parts. The grill, I'm pretty sure it's either a 32 Ford, like a 32 Ford grill, or a 34 Ford grill. It may be a 34 Ford grill that I robbed out of the same kit that I got the visor from. But I went in and did the skull treatment to it as well. And then the headlights were clear, and I went in and used some Tamiya clear red and cleared them as a nod to the Gravedigger monster truck having those big beautiful red headlights on it. So I thought that would go good with the caliper color, the brake line color, and the engine color. And it also matches my seat belts too. So, and then the chains were some leftover, I think these are just leftover necklace chains that I had laying around, that I just cut to size and hung them with these little hooks. There's one of them, and there's another one, and just hung the chains. But let's see, what else can we go over? So one of the things that I got asked about, actually, and we'll probably end the video off of this one because I think I've about covered everything. One of the things that I got asked the most at Acme with this one was how I did my paint job. Now, I know there's hundreds of ways to achieve a rusty paint job, whether it's chipping fluid, whether it's masking, the salt technique, sponging. There's plenty of different ways you can achieve this, whether it's pigments, there's little like rust pigments that you can use. I think I have some here. As a matter of fact, I do. There's some rust streaks that you can get from AK Interactive, stuff like this, which I've yet to use this. And I've had it in my stash for a really long time. But, you also have these rust pigments as well, and I've got several of these, but I have not used them yet. But what works for me, I think the best, is probably the sponge technique. So what I did was I black based this with good old Mr. Surfacer 1500 black. Again, I personally, for me at least, I think that Mr. Surfacer 1500 is the best primer you can put on a model. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm sure that there are some of you out there who would disagree and you use, you know, other methods to prime with, and that's fine. But for me, that's what works. And then once I got my 1500 black on, I marbled on my, I want to say it was Tamiya XF68. I could be wrong. Let me see. Where is it? That's 64. 8. There it is. Marbled on some XF68 NATO brown. And then once this was marbled and dry and the whole body was, I wouldn't say necessarily uniform, but it was all, you know, kind of the same color. The thing with marbling is to get high and low spots. It's basically, you're basically setting up your secondary, your top coat or your sponge coat, or however, you know, you're planning on painting your vehicle. And then once I got this on, I went in with several other shades of Tamiya browns. I can't remember which ones I used. And I just took a sponge and dabbed it on everywhere. The body, you know, the tracks, the chassis, you know, even parts of the turbo kit, the intercooler. And the weird thing about this was, when I was initially getting ready to paint this thing, I was going to finish the entire, like, engine and turbo kit as, like, a nice big brand new paint job. Like, it looked like it just went in the model, and I would have had, like, polished aluminum, and the engine wouldn't have been weathered, and all the black parts would have been finished, you know, as, again, like a brand new setup. And I'm really glad that I didn't do that. But you know, back to the sponge technique, I sponged the grill, all of the skull inserts, the front end, everything was sponged with multiple coats in different shades of flat Tamiya acrylic browns. I even threw in a little hull red, I believe, and some red browns like this right here. But that's how I got my rust. And then later on, I went in with my, I want to say it's the AK Interactive weathering pencils, and did some sponging with those as well. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for Attraxxion. Again, if you guys have any questions on this build, please feel free to ask. I love talking with everybody, whether it's here on YouTube or over on my Instagram page, which you guys should definitely go look at. And if you have an Instagram, please go give me a follow over there. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. I do want to end this video off by taking the time to thank the people over at Fine Scale Modeler for featuring Attraxxion on Fine Scale's website, and for, you know, having this car in next year's Contest Cars mag. Means a lot to me to see a build get wrapped up and go on, you know, into a magazine for everybody to go see. It means a lot to me, and I'm really appreciative. So you know, thank you, Fine Scale Modeler. Thank you to everybody who came out to Acme this year to check this build out, to check the other builds out, to check everyone's builds out. We always appreciate having you guys. I certainly do. It's one of my favorite times of the year. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. If you guys enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell so you stay notified on any and all of my new videos coming out. Please like, comment, and share. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care.
Yeah.